All right. Hello, hello, my fellow sensitive people. Thank you, everyone who has decided to hang out here and take a look at what is going on with the market. Futures do not look good for the Dow Jones. It looks like we are definitely looking at a stock market crash, meaning greater than 10% of a market drop in a short amount of time. So we unfortunately do have that. And I don't anticipate it recovering anytime soon. There's a couple of reasons why I don't think that the market will recover anytime soon. Um, though it might be a good time to maybe think about, once it stabilizes, getting back into the market. But for now, as long as the tariffs hold, all these crazy tariffs, we can assume that there won't be a recovery in the market because who would invest in the market when we're having a trade war? So the cause has not been, we haven't dealt with the cause. And so because we haven't dealt with the cause, we aren't going to see a correction in the market. The second thing is that the stocks were heavily, heavily inflated. They were extremely high. They were overvalued. So we knew a correction was going to come. So for those reasons, we cannot assume that the market is going to recover anytime soon. In terms of whether or not there's going to be a Great Depression, the issue here energetically feels like a stagnation more than anything else. We can't get ahead because nobody invests in our markets. We can't get ahead because nobody can get a job, and you're basically unemployable after the age of 45. Nobody wants to hire you. So there's this real fear that, human beings live 100 years now, and sometimes we could be living longer with CRISP and all these new fango dango. So how are we going to earn money when everybody's jobs are being replaced by AI? And then they're talking about taking away Social Security. So people become terrified. Oh my God, I'm going to live another 40 years and it's going to be complete poverty, right? So we look to the Great Depression and we think, well, what did people do back then? They did back then what we probably should be doing, whether there's a depression or not. The over gluttony of the 80s, where we simply threw 1/3 of our food into the trash. It never should have happened. We've burned so much money, Americans, just in terms of the things we buy. I know myself personally that I waste a ton of food. There's no excuse for it. It's really hard for me to purchase for one person. And so just the more we can be mindful of those things, to live more simply, to pull back just a little bit, to not engage in any major purchases right now is certainly the main message I would give people. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some cards. And I think I will move this way a little bit so you guys can have a more enjoyable reading. You can see the cards a little bit better here. And let's go ahead and we'll do the M-Paz prayer. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, as a community, we say, Amen. Let us go in and take a look. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you guys like my background. I changed the background up. And yeah, but people get bored. Gotta change backgrounds a little bit. Doing kind of a blue, it's kind of a blue theme, blue clothing, blue theme. Mila's coming over. Hey, Mila, how are you? You going to come join us? All right, for the economy right now, be about your business, the Queen of Pentacles. You have to look at your little family like a business. How much money is going out? How much money is coming in? Uh, Open up those books, the account and reckoning books that I always tell people to keep. Always have something like this around so you can jot down notes about how your little family operation is going. Everybody can have a side hustle, but take care of your business. And also, we see a Six of Wands, which is business success. So, Six of Wands is a 6-month period to 3 years. But what I would say to you is be about, excuse me, be about your business, take care of your business, be responsible. You're going to be okay. And look to your higher ethics, the higher ethics of the country right now. Diplomats coming in. There's a star over the situation, but for now, be frugal. You can see that frugality card coming in. When a frugality card comes in like that, it's usually a warning that you want to be just a little bit careful in terms of your spending. There goes the savings. Inverted. 9 of Pentacles sitting in past placement. You may feel that somebody dumped your coins out. So, while I'm optimistic about the future of business in the United States and abroad, right now it's not looking. Oh, many of you have jobs coming. Despite everything that's going on, there's this. This would suggest production of new jobs. This is like the war effort. This is like America's war machine begins hiring. Isn't that strange? So even though America got rid of some jobs, they increased defense contracts and jobs for the US defense, because I'm seeing more jobs coming in being contracted. It could be because we're moving towards a possible war economy, going to war with Iran, possibly going into Ukraine, which I think is kind of inevitable, and also possibly putting U.S. bases in North Sinai. I know there's been discussions between the United States and El-Sisi out of Egypt about possibly having U.S. bases there. So this feels to me like we could be seeing an increase in money going to defense, and with that, more people being hired with defense. Where we're at right now, the weapons of war have been taken from us. So feeling that we have been defeated, that America has been defeated, and that tremendous damage has already been done. U.S. aid, this was catastrophic. And devastation again here. You can see the 10 of Swords moving into 9th position, which would indicate a feeling that somebody may have when they feel betrayed by another human being. And then the final outcome is 8 of Wands, a situation of strife. So there's great strife over the United States, a sense of anger and betrayal, and a sense also of confusion you feel when you look at these cards, as if what the American people are saying is that they don't understand how we got here. They don't understand how we got here. And we got here because we didn't put enough money in to the, we didn't tax enough, starting with Reagan. And so, yeah, it was fun. It was gravy train. This kind of reminds me of 1958 in China, the year that everybody ate well in China, right? Because everybody splurged and thought that, yeah, the good times are rolling, everybody's going to have plenty of rice, but they didn't think to store the rice. And then from 59 to 60, there was famine. And many people, something like 60 million people died in China from starvation. So You get that feel. That's where my head goes when I look at the United States, when I look at all the gluttony and waste that didn't have to happen. We all rode that gravy train in the 1980s. We all wanted to have the BMW. We all wanted to. It was gluttony, and Trump was a part was the one of the poster childs of the gluttony of the 80s and 90s. And now it's coming back on us in the sense that the bill is now due. The bill is now due, and we have to come to terms with the fact that the bill is now due and it has to be paid. And the way to pay it is not to rob children of their peanut butter. This is not what we do. So we have, as adults, we have to take responsibility for what we co-created, and we have to find a remedy for it. So there's this sobriety that comes over the nation. Seventh house, or the immediate environment coming in the coming weeks, is a sobriety. How honest conversations have to happen amongst Americans. And amongst conservatives about the long-term consequences of the tax breaks of the Republicans, how it harmed all Americans, starting with Ronald Reagan, and then additional tax cuts came in under Bush Jr., and then additional after Trump, and so it ultimately led to the economic collapse of the United States. And when you add on to that increasing the war budget, you're really talking about incredible amounts of debt. And that is unfortunately the direction we appear to be happening here again in the cards, is that the work coming in appears to be connected to defense. And the opposition, the tower is coming. So there's this feeling also here that the tower cannot be avoided, that it is the opposition, that everybody is pulling out of the market. And if you pull out of the market and you don't have a nest egg, then you can't do what? You can't get loans to buy houses because you don't have a nest egg anymore. How do you get a loan to buy a house? I was looking at possibly purchasing. So what do? They say, well, what are your savings? And I say, well, I have a Roth IRA, I have a SEP IRA. How much is in it? You tell them, and they say, okay, we'll loan you so much, 100,000. Because you've got collateral, right? You've got stuff, right? But now people don't. If you've lost 20-30% of your investments, then there goes your collateral, right? And the final outcome is 2 of Cups, which would be thinking in terms of the health of the nation. So we have to think in terms of the health of the nation, what is best for the nation, how to take care of the nation, rather than just isolating it in terms of numbers, GDP, etc. Rather, we have to look at the GDP, etc., as a symptom of what's going on in terms of the health of the nation. Nobody is happy about the tariffs. We'll do some blitzes here. As I had said, there appears to be lawsuits that I'm picking up. I'm picking up a communication between Macron, excuse me, Macron and Canada. Macron in Canada looking into taking legally suing for breach of contract. These are the lawsuits in the international courts you can expect. I also checked with supercomputers that confirmed that was very likely where we were headed. So violation of treaties. Filing is probably going to happen soon this April by multiple countries. And United States has nothing to, they're going to the courts. Not only that, it could cost us financially down the road too. Violation of, there's proof that we are in violation of the contracts that we created with other countries. Archangel Michael, he often is the sword of truth, which is also associated with the sword of justice. People will often go to Michael for issues of justice for that reason. Ace of Pentacles, standing in the opposition. And Queen of Swords, the sword of truth over the Hierophant. The truth will come out over this situation, which will be for the good of the people. Yeah. So that means we should be able to get more Democrats and progressive policies in that will protect the people in future regarding taxes. Okay, so there was something about the courts and forcing immigrants out of the country illegally, and whether or not how the courts were going to deal with that. Deporting green card holders. Evidence in court, health of the people, issues of compensation, financial, they win. So lawyers, immigration lawyers, if you've been a victim of the United States, if you were injured, etc., then there's court case and mediators. We're looking, they cost us so much money. They didn't save us money, and they ended up killing kids. They came in, Doge, and these new policies on immigration. People wound up in ICE custody with real criminals. Some of them got attacked. Some of them have been threatened. Some of them got sick, according to these Akashic field. And you've got compensation here due to illness and evidence of violation. You can't just take somebody who's, yeah. And they're saying people, look at that, people could die in ICE custody. Look at that. There's lawsuits coming. Yeah, there's lawsuits coming, and I would say that the most likely outcome is going to be massive lawsuits, just like when the kids wound up in ICE custody, and we will have to pay compensation for that. In terms of how Trump will be dealt with, how will Republicans deal with Trump? That's a question that people, because obviously something, I told you guys, it's not sustainable. It's not a sustainable formula. It can't work. So let's take a look at how Republicans will deal with Trump. The party is over, inverted 10 of cups. This marriage is over. So it happened very quickly. It's not salvageable. When the billionaires lost 20% of their investment, it's over. But particularly now that they know it's going to take forever for them to recover. They don't care about dead kids in Biafra starving to death. That's you and me. We care about that. They care about the bottom dollar, the fact that they lost their investments and that no one can invest in their companies. Their companies are going down because everybody pulled out of the market. That's what they care about. If you own a AT&T or a Bank of America or anything else, and people are pulling out of the market, then that's ultimately what you care about. That's why they voted for this guy, the tax breaks. There's war happening in the Republican Party. 8 of Wands is about things happening very quickly, but it's also a card of distress, strife, and it can be a negative card, particularly if it's attached to something like an inverted 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups is a marriage card. It's the happy family. When it's inverted, it can be the breakup or dissolving of a family. The immediate environment in the Blitz for the Republican Party is that they've broken up. The marriage is over. In terms of the opposition, it's strife, fighting, this, the hope and fear. We don't know how we got here. How did we get here? The 9th house, or the hope and the fear, is lunacy. So what did you think? This is what I learn as a remote viewer, is this emotionalism that people have. We have to stop being so emotional. When we are emotional and we are, I see this in Israeli politics a lot. As an Israeli, people just want to milk the victim stuff. This person did this. This person did that, back and forth, Israelis, Palestinians, Gaza, you did this to me. What are we going to do right now to fix it? Bombs are dropping and kids are getting hurt. I just wish people would be more logical and less falling into these emotional traps on both sides, right? We all fall into these Republican and Democrat. And the same thing is happening here in these Akashic fields. This emotionalism, lunacy, how that look, I'm the biggest culprit, right? When something tragic happens, October 7th, right? I lost my mind. I get it. But I also get that when we make major decisions, like who we're going to have as president or prime minister or any of these major decisions, we've got to be able to put our own trauma and emotionalism aside and think in terms of long-term, how's it going to impact all of us? And I think that this is a situation where the Republicans are simply in shock. It went south really quickly. I think you can see the cards are not. The final outcome here is Armistice Day, dancing in the streets, and a great celebration. Something shifts, and it shifts very quickly. Over the issue, they're confused. Seven of Cups, you see. Seven of Cups is to howl at the moon. It's, lunacy is to howl at the moon. Seven of Cups is to be in one's cups and confused. Opposition to a swords may be a sense of denial that they're having hopes and fears. They keep waiting for things to get better. Final outcome is Knight of Wands, war. The other thing is waiting for Godot. It's this sense that they keep doing things wrong, but waiting. We just got to wait a little bit longer, and then it'll get better. But it's the person who keeps engaging in bad health habits, but expects, but I'm going to get better tomorrow, and they keep getting sicker and sicker and sicker. There's real denial here, Two of Swords, by the Republicans that the ship is sinking. But I would say that the relationship is over with Trump. And I'm trying to get into Trump's head and trying to figure out why he thought that tariffs were a good idea, because none of us gets it. All right, so what is going on with him and tariffs? He thought it was going to work like business, where you just play hard to get and then people give you a better business offer. So he thought, okay, everybody's very mad at him. He's got a Knight of Swords in his 9th house. It's all this Mars energy we're entering into because of wars. He has no friends. Him and Elon Musk both. This is showing an increasingly isolated Trump. I'm seeing J.D. Vance as the president. J.D. Vance is the King of Pentacles. They're going to replace him with J.D. Vance. If you don't like J.D. Vance, I get it. If you're a Democrat and you don't like J.D. Vance, but that's not how they see it. If they think Project 25 is the best thing since sliced bread, then you could almost argue that it was a conspiracy to convince Trump to do all this crazy stuff so he could be removed and that they could put J.D. Vance in there. This is a perfect opportunity for them to stab Trump in the back and bring in J.D. Vance, which is probably who they wanted the whole time anyway. A new beginning starts for J.D. Vance in the spring, which is now April. Let me go ahead and check real quickly on J.D. Vance, who presents as female in the remotes. J.D. Vance has more of a feminine core than a male. God, how do you live like that? I don't know. Just a lot of compartmentalization. All right. Yeah, you know what's interesting is that JD Vance really doesn't want to be in politics. It's a really strange thing. I often get in the next couple of weeks, Two of Pentacles, you have this Two of Cups energy coming in. Three of Pentacles would be a contract. So the next couple of weeks, people are talking about JD Vance being the president. You wonder if it's almost like Trump got hired to throw the fight. Well, this will get me impeached. Yeah, he's the race, the chariot. Huh, that's interesting. They're saying that despite all of the crazy with Democrats coming in midterms, that much to people's surprise, JD Vance could become a calming influence and is not as radical, was not able to be as radical as people had feared because of a Democratic Congress, and instead much good work may come in the coming years uh, as Democrats and Republicans work together to smooth the waters from the disaster of the last couple of months of this presidency. So, yeah, like it looks like a lot of, when I go forward into the future, I always see new green economy being something that is pushed forward. Um, but yeah, I think people are done with Trump. And I think that in the next couple of weeks, very aggressively, the powers that be, the deep state, which is ultimately the money that runs the country, are going to be making some phone calls to Mike Johnson and to the cabinet saying, get rid of him. And I think it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks. He's got 2 weeks. All right. One card from Spirit. See if we have any other messages. Hold your space. That is the message for people right now, is to hold your space. So be in meditation, be in prayer, hold your space, take care of yourself, take care of your friends. Don't be overwhelmed by things you cannot control. Just take care of, tidy about your own home, be about your business. All will be well. And the next couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, should be very intense. All right. Thank you so much for watching. If you're trying to get in for a tarot reading with me, you can book me through the Booksy website. You can find that information below. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I wanted to also say before we close, thank you for your lovely gifts. I received some very nice gifts, and I will do what I can to try and make sure that I get to everybody. But yeah, I got like a lot of gifts, and so I just want to make sure. Is this working? Oops, having trouble closing out. It's because I want to hang with you guys so much. All right, let's see here. Nope. Interesting. Looks like money. Oh. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. Night, night.